By invitation. Rules, tools, and values. Europe needs to adapt to a rougher world, argues Kodja Corliss, the European Union's High Representative for Foreign Affairs. When I started this job nearly a year ago, I asked for a globe to go in my office. By the time it arrived, quite a lot had happened around the world. Now, spinning my globe in November, it can feel as though the international order stands on the brink of collapse. Just look at how Russia continues its war of aggression against Ukraine for the fourth year in a row. But the reality is that things are not as bad as they seem. Over the past 80 years, the international community has built an extensive system of global and regional forums to resolve differences, including the United Nations, the European Union, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the African Union, and the Community of Latin American and Caribbean States. Even more importantly, we have developed a toolbox of international laws and norms. These provide legitimacy, set standards for behavior, facilitate cooperation, and outline how to resolve disputes. Some states are now actively seeking to overthrow these norms and rules, and the institutions enforcing them, in favor of horse trading and a might makes right approach. At the other end of the scale is the European Union. First and foremost a peace project. The EU is a family of sovereign nations that came together after the Second World War, united by the imperative of avoiding yet another war. The EU's steadfast commitment to the international rules-based order, along with our common interests and shared values, have held us together for 7 decades and attracted new members, propelling 7 enlargements to date and keeping that hope alive for future members from Albania to Ukraine. We created conditions for our citizens' prosperity through a single market and a common currency. Building the world's largest trade bloc has made us into a global economic powerhouse. We are known for our freedom of movement, our guarantees of fundamental rights, consumer benefits, healthcare, and food safety standards. Not least as a global leader in climate action and environmental protection, we also demonstrate an unmatched concern for others. Together with our 27 member states, we are the biggest donor of development cooperation funds and one of the biggest in humanitarian aid. During my first year leading the EU's diplomatic service, I have been grappling with the question: how can the EU, founded to establish peace, anchored by international law, and dedicated to making the world a better place, one rule at a time, move forward in a world where rulebooks are being thrown overboard? For the EU to stick to its old ways when the world around us is changing is to risk irrelevance. We, too, must adjust. First, we have to learn to live with ambiguity, and focus on taking step after practical step. History offers guidance. During his 10 years as the Secretary-General of the United Nations, U Thant personally intervened in multiple conflicts, from Congo to Kashmir, and in the Six-Day War. The UN, he counseled, had been founded precisely to transcend transactionalism. After intervening in the Cuban Missile Crisis, he suggested that we have, at least for the moment, to accept less than perfect solutions. We must be willing to do the same. Second, we have to do our homework and strengthen the EU to be a more muscular geopolitical player. Spurred by Russia's war on Ukraine, we need to convert our economic strength into military might, so as to defend ourselves and to harness the possibilities of space. We must fulfill our promises to candidate states and welcome them into our union. In parallel, we need to deepen integration via the EU single market and boost our competitiveness and resilience, as outlined by the Letta and Druggy reports respectively. Third, we need to work with the many partners around the globe with whom we share common interests. We have signed security and defense partnerships with countries in Europe, Asia, and North America. 76 countries around the world are already covered by EU trade agreements, and we have upcoming deals with Mercosur, Mexico, Indonesia, India, and others. Together, we will build a coalition of like-minded countries to reform the global trading system. I have always believed that international law is the basis for peace. That is what the EU represents to me. The idea that law, not violence or short-term gain, should govern the fates of countries and their people. Defending the rule of law is still an intrinsic interest of every person the world over. It is a mistake to think that we must choose between our interests and our values.